Most golfers think the only golf ball worth playing on the course is a Pro V1. But after looking through to my Golf Spy robot testing, playing these golf balls on the course and cutting them open with Jeff, I'm not sure that's true anymore, because hidden inside their testing were some balls that seriously surprised me. Balls that are cheaper, less hyped, and in some cases might actually fit average golfers better. And if you stick around until the end, I'll not only give you the 5 best underrated golf balls, but I'll also give you a wildcard choice that only costs $1. And in robot testing, it quietly embarrassed a lot of premium golf balls. I'm on a mission to find the perfect golf ball, not for pros, not for the robots, but for the average golfer like you and me. So today we're looking at the most underrated golf balls of 2026, and of course we'll be cutting them open with Jeff. So this list is really a combination of the robot testing and my own on-course experience. And trust me, some of these genuinely surprised me. So let's start with probably the biggest shock of the entire test, the Maxfli Tour X. Now if you'd said to me 5 years ago that Maxfli would be competing with premium tour balls and even being played at the Masters, most golfers would laugh. But the robot data on this ball was seriously impressive. This is a high compression urethane golf ball designed for speed. And in my Golf Spy testing, it repeatedly showed up near the top for ball speed, driver distance, and overall performance. At mid-swing speed, it actually led the field for driver distance, and that's crazy, especially considering the price compared to something like a Pro V1X. Now the trade-off here is obvious. This isn't some ultra soft feel ball. It's firmer, more aggressive, more tour speed focused. But honestly, what surprised me on the course was that it didn't feel as harsh as I expected. Because sometimes the fastest golf balls can feel like you're hitting a rock. Now this one didn't, particularly on slight mishits. It felt stable and powerful. And when we cut it open, it looks exactly like a modern tour ball should. A multi-layer construction, urethane cover, big fast core. So this isn't a gimmick anymore. Maxfli are making serious golf balls now, and they're worth checking out. Next up on the list, and this one might annoy a few golf snobs, the Kirkland Performance version 3.5. Because for years people joked about the Kirkland golf balls, and honestly some of the older versions were too spinny. But according to robot testing, this new version is much improved. In fact, it was chosen as the great buy option in high, mid and low swing speed golfer categories, and that's a huge statement. The spin has come down, the flight is more controlled, and now it looks like a genuinely usable urethane golf ball for average players. And this is where golf matters more than robot testing. Because yes, robots can measure perfect strikes, but what I noticed on the course playing this ball was that it actually felt more stable on slight mishits than older Kirklands. It didn't feel wild, it didn't balloon, and for the money, this is kind of ridiculous. It's so cheap. So let's get hold of Jeff and see what's inside this golf ball. So here you can see why this thing competes. Proper urethane cover, multi-layer build, premium style construction. This isn't a cheap range ball anymore, and they're definitely worth checking out. Next up, and this one really surprised me, the Titleist Tour Soft. Because most golfers think this is just soft, slow and built for senior golfers. But the robot data told a very different story. This thing repeatedly showed up with strong speed, solid distance and surprisingly good all-round performance for an iron golf ball. And here's the really interesting bit. The compression was measured in the high 80s, so despite the name, this isn't actually some super mushy golf ball. It's firmer and faster than most golfers realise. And honestly, this is one of those golf balls where the average golfer might actually enjoy the real world experience of playing it more than the robot data suggests, because softer feeling golf balls can sometimes help confidence, especially when you don't strike it perfectly, which for most golfers is pretty much all the time. And when we cut it open with Jeff, you can see the simplicity compared to a premium urethane ball. But honestly, that simpler design is exactly why a lot of golfers might hit it better. I'd recommend checking this one out. Next up, we've got one of the quietest performers in the whole test, the Srixon Q-Star Ulti-Speed. This golf ball kept appearing throughout the My Golf Spy data, especially for slower swing speeds, iron number performance and low spin distance. And that makes sense when you look at what the ball is trying to do. It's built for speed, easy launch and distance without crazy spin. Basically a very playable golf ball for average golfers. And when we cut this ball open with Jeff, it's exactly what you'd expect to see from a high-performing Srixon golf ball. And out on the course, this felt exactly like the kind of ball a lot of golfers would genuinely score better with. Not because it's magical, but because it launches easily. I felt it didn't spin excessively, and it didn't punish my mishits too much, which was quite a lot. And I think that matters, and I definitely recommend checking this ball out. Now, if you want the most tour-like ball on this list without paying full tour ball prices, this is it, the Taylormade Tour Response. Now, what makes this interesting is it gives you urethane cover, softer feel, and decent speed without becoming too demanding. And the robot testing backed that up. It repeatedly showed up as low spin, fast for its category, and surprisingly efficient. This feels like one of those balls that sits perfectly in the middle, not ultra firm, not ultra spinny, not scary, just a really smart option for average golfers who want to move into premium golf balls. And when you cut it open, you can immediately see the jump in complexity compared to cheaper distance balls. It's got that large core and a very thin outer layer. And I'd recommend testing this ball out on the course if you haven't already. Now, before I get onto my wildcard choice, if you're not sure what golf ball to play, scan this QR code or click the link in the description below and I'll send you my golf ball buying guide. And I think it's pretty good. But there was one golf ball in the testing that genuinely made me stop and look twice. And honestly, it might be the biggest wildcard in golf, the Pinnacle Rush. Because this thing is basically an anti-snob golf ball. Cheap, old school, no hype, no tour players, no fancy marketing, yet the robot testing showed this thing absolutely flies. And here's the funny part, Pinnacle is actually owned by the same company as Titleist, so this is basically a weird secret cousin of Titleist that no one speaks about. So now look, on the course this isn't amazing at greenside spin, and around the greens a Pro V1 absolutely destroys it, and obviously the robots hit the middle of the ball every single time, but for average golfers I think it becomes a simpler, low spin design that becomes more forgiving for inconsistent golfers. And honestly, I think for some players, the answer, should you use this ball, might actually be yes. Have you played this ball? Let me know in the comments below. So the one big takeaway from this is that there's so many different golf balls out there to try, so just don't get stuck playing the same golf ball all the time. What's your most underrated golf ball? Let me know in the comments below. I'll maybe cut it open in the next video, and I'll catch you in the next one. I've just realised I never ask anyone to subscribe to this channel, and I keep getting told you should ask in the video for people to subscribe. So if you like this video, if you think it's been helpful, then make sure to subscribe, because actually it could reach some other golfers who are making similar golf ball mistakes, and together let's all improve our game. And I'll catch you in the next one.